We are at Vegan Flavor Cafe with the Hour of Power with Brother Sharif. Go to Hour of Power, Sharif Hamid on YouTube. Subscribe and share the channel. You know the motto, so we can continue to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. So make sure you subscribe and share the channel. We are Vegan Flavor Cafe, Durham, North Carolina. December the 24th with my good brother here, Zayd Shakur. And he is going to explain the importance of Kwanzaa and the principles and its importance. So before we get started, my good brother Zayd, introduce yourself to the audience.
Peace, I'm Zayd Shakur, as already stated. Born in New York, raised in Durham, North Carolina. I'm blessed to be indoctrinated into Afrocentricity from birth, a strong pro-black family. Pro-black meaning for people, not against anybody else. Real Afro-centered upbringing. So the introduction of Kwanzaa into the community, at least into my home, didn't hit any resistance. You know what I'm saying? This is a natural progression of things. Something that my uncle mainly pushed before the gatherings, before you're gonna do the Kwanzaa stuff this year, and before all the little venues and this and that. It was at people's homes. And it was really brought down from New York, where people had kind of embraced it. Coming over from California, where it's the birthplace. It was for those people who were in the movement, who were trying to find a way to get back to blackness, back to Africanness, which had been kind of demonized and vilified, you know what I'm saying? So my family, I'm proud to say, were maybe a foundation block in Durham in terms of initiating Kwanzaa here, along with Baba Arnold Dennis, who became Baba Kofi, along with Brother Muwata, along with countless others. The brother's name escapes me. His wife just passed. Brother Dunstan, Baba Dunstan. There's a lot of brothers in the community that really focused on the tenets of Kwanzaa, the principles of Kwanzaa. They adhered to them. So we had rites of passage, ceremonies. We had elders who would impart wisdom, and knowledge, and all that came from the principles of Kwanzaa, which is really just the principles of being more of our African self. Not saying the Africans are perfect or magical or anything like that. It's like, no, but other races can call on a history. They can go to a land, they can go to a continent or a country and say, this is us, this is where we originate. We don't seem to take pride in that. We want to go, well, I'm from Philly, or I'm from so-and-so. Well, I was originally born in such and such. Yeah, but where are your people from? Which means where are you really from? And that's what Kwanzaa tries to kind of bring back. I guess that's what Dr. Maulana Karenga's idea was, a part of it, in 64, when he said, you know what, let's get back to our Africanness. And now, to make this clear, there's some points of contention sometimes when you bring up Dr. Karenga. There's a lot of people that probably felt and thought the same way at the same time. Just like when Rosa Parks refused to stand up. There's a few other sisters and brothers that probably also refused to stand up. They just focused on her. So we can say that Dr. Karenga was the one that maybe codified the concept, but it doesn't mean that he did it in a vacuum, right? He had to have the core concepts given to him. The tenets themselves. So what elders from Africa did he speak to?
Right.
And so that's what we focus on when we're talking about Kwanzaa, in my eyes. So my history in Durham, inconsequential in terms of bringing it down when it comes to Kwanzaa. You know what I'm saying? Who I am, blah, blah, blah. It's cool. You'll find out about me later. But the core reason for talking, the core purpose for talking, the niyyah for talking, is to talk about Kwanzaa and its effects on the community, and its benefits to my family, to the families around that have really been there since the beginning.
And with Dr. Karenga, was that when you started picking up, when he start putting down those principles, even though we already explained that it wasn't just him, did you pick those principles up fully in New York, or once you got here to Durham?
No, I mean, I came to Durham when I was like 7.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't have formed any
right.
any opinions of note. But no, I grew up with Baba Chuck Davis as my uncle. My big uncle, my mom's mentor and dance instructor. When she danced with him in New York City, the Chuck Davis Dance Company. So, he steeped in the concept of African culture. My mother's steeped in the concept of African culture. Even though we were Muslim, being raised Muslim, my parents, alhamdulillah, didn't separate Africa and Islam. You know what I'm saying? They didn't go, oh, well, sometimes we'll do our African stuff, but we'll do our Muslim. No, it's like, yeah, we Muslims, but we do our African thing. My mother owns a dance company, African dance company. So, you know, we never strayed too far from the deen, we never strayed too far from the culture. So, my father being heavy in music, you know, always being with Baba Chuck, you know, being at Alianfe, the children's company when I was young, just always being surrounded by Afrocentricity, you know, adhering to the principles of Kwanzaa was natural. It was like, it was what we did, you know. So we had the Kanara at the crib, you know, you had the candles up. No, we wouldn't have it 24, we wouldn't have it 365. We'd have it during that time. But again, this is the beginning, you know, especially in Durham, this is the beginning. And it's more about tradition and culture. So it's not to say that you have to have your Kanara up the entire year and this and that, you're always lighting candles. Not necessarily. If that's what you want to do, cool. Because that's also a message I want to push. But if you just feel inclined to do it at a specific time a year, it's a tradition. It becomes an African tradition or a Black tradition or an African American tradition, however you want to codify it. But it doesn't take away from Christmas if that's what you do. So if we got Christmas on the 25th and on the next day we start the cultural vibe. We have our religious vibe, now we have our cultural piece. You know what I'm saying? If Eid comes around a certain time and then Kwanzaa comes around a certain time, it's not either or. Eid comes, you do your thing, and then when Kwanzaa comes, it's your culture vibe, especially for Black people. You know, it's imperative for Black people.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up because I was always under the impression when I learned about Kwanzaa years ago that it was something counter to Christmas because it came the day after. I mean, that's what I thought, and I really didn't have anyone, you know, to explain it.
Would be the day of. He said, if you really want to go count, it's like, all right, we can do Christmas on the 25th, or we can do Moja on the 25th. That's not what happened. So even in its inception, it was like, we don't want to cut that off. Because, you know, Black people, we steeped in the church in terms of tradition. So to stomp one for the other, that wouldn't be cool. That wouldn't stoke Umoja at all. That would be counterproductive.
It's more divisive.
Yeah. So it was almost like it was taken into account. Hey man, hold up. We're not even gonna do Christmas Eve and skip over. No, we're gonna wait for Christmas to be done. And the next day, keep the festivity going. The family's already together. Y'all ain't left town yet. The kids haven't gone back to school yet, so the family's still together. So why not continue the concept that Christmas is supposed to promote? So if Christmas is about togetherness and family and remembrance and reverence, well, so is Kwanzaa. So you just keep that line just going straight down. You know what I'm saying? Why stop? There's no breaks. The family's already here.
Right.
You know, and then the 7 days of Kwanzaa, the family will still be here. And then you bring to the new year. So you bring the new year in with family. From religion all the way to culture. From the middle of December, well not really the middle, but from the 25th of December all the way to the 1st of January. So you take this family energy, this family African energy into the new year. So when people ask about, you know, what's your New Year's resolution? What you mean? I just did it. New Year's resolution is to do it again, the same way, with family. It's all you got at the end of the day, you know?
Yeah, and to your knowledge, how did Kwanzaa really get started here in the Durham area? Because we're here in Durham, North Carolina.
You know what, man? I was a kid, so I can't say that I know exactly. I know for me, Kwanzaa started with my Uncle Sherman father.
Okay.
You know, coming to either inviting us to his house, our family, because that's, you know, my mother's his brother, his sister. So inviting us to his house and his family, or coming to our house, you know, and just sharing the principles. We would pass around the Kikombe Tribal Moja, and we would talk about the ancestors, you know, who came before us. We'd pay homage, you know, we would call out the names. And eventually, over time, other families came in. The Carters came by. And then Arnold Dennis would start. And so in my recollection, it goes from my Uncle Sherman, and then it just kind of spreads out slowly into the community as more and more people, I realized, started doing it. And that is not to say that my uncle started it and everybody followed him. Right. That's to say that he was part of a core group of brothers who were all focused on the same energy. I just got my uncle's part. I didn't see the rest of it beginning. I just saw as it grew. See what I'm saying? So Baba Kofi Dennis, Baba Dunstan, Dr. Douglas. I mean, it was a beautiful energy. I can't even remember all the key elders because some of them I didn't know personally. You know, I could see them. You know, Brother Hester, who became Muwata. Muwata Hester, I can't remember his first name, first given name. The developer of Phoenix Crossing. I mean, that's you know, he's quietly been a big deal in Durham. You know, he was one of our mentors and leaders. So, you know, him and Brother Dennis. I mean, these guys were intellectuals and entrepreneurs and pro-black. You know, and that was the core. So, you know, look at the youth now. It's like, man, you know, I grew up respecting the elders because the elders was on point. It wasn't like, I mean, yeah, they always would say something to piss you off because they would counter what you were thinking, but you're young, you don't know nothing. The elders are going, yeah, that's your cool opinion, but this is what it really is. And we were at least astute enough to go, okay, so what you saying? All right, let me think about it. You know what I mean? And a lot of that also is a part of Kwanzaa, you know, the reverence for your elders. When they say, hey man, listen, let me talk to you. Adults don't waste their time talking to kids unless they want to talk to you, unless they really want to impart wisdom, unless they care. Because adults got too much on they have too much on their plates, too much going on already in their life for me to stop and correct some kid. So I have to really care. So if some adult checks you and goes, hey brother, young man, you shouldn't be doing it, you should be doing this. Listen to the elder first. Before you go, man, you don't know me, you don't know my story. You don't need to know your story, you already seen it. He might have lived it. What he's telling you is, hey man, the next chapter, I already wrote that, and you about to do the same thing. So how about you flip it up this way? You know, and that's also a part of Kwanzaa. You know, it's not just 7 days you celebrate. The 7 days is supposed to remind you of the core principles you should carry every day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I created the t-shirt that says Kwanzaa 24/7, 365. All day, every day, all year. But yeah, you're gonna have your specific 7 days to celebrate. But the principles, the tenets, should be all year long. And so these brothers who instilled Kwanzaa in our community in Bull City, they lived those core tenets and practices. All of those brothers walked in that road. They were all freedom fighters. They were all focused on the people, every single one of them.
And before you get into the principles, brother, when you were talking about, you know, kind of the origin of Kwanzaa in this area, as you remember in your observation, was this being done out of people's homes?
Mostly.
Yeah. So it wasn't in no building or community center or nothing like that.
And that's what made it beautiful.
Yes.
Because so I may not know your family, but somebody else might know your family. So the host family might know your family. We don't know your family yet. So you're slowly bringing the black community in Durham closer together. These are people who are transplanting from other states, and they're coming down and meeting other people, blah, blah, blah. And this is happening through culture. So even though we don't know each other's family members, we're calling out each other's ancestors that have passed. So I'm connected to your history. I don't know you from Adam, but I'm connected to your history and you're connected to mine because we're calling out ancestors who have passed. It would take a whole conversation to find out that your grandma passed or her name was such and such. And in one instance, as you call out your ancestor, I go, oh, grandma such and such.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, that seems to be more intimate. Doing it, you know, going into each other's homes, because very rare do we go in each other's homes
and that's
anymore.
Why, you know, when it started becoming a thing, people kind of lament, you know, this is cool, but make sure you do it at the house too, because that's the core. That's the basis. Oh, yeah, I love my uncle, man. He was a real cat. You know what I'm saying? But he was real in terms of his love for his people. He wasn't manufactured.
Right. Bless his soul, man. Bless his soul. Yeah. You want to explain the actual principles of Kwanzaa and their meaning, bro?
Yeah. So, 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Umoja, unity.
Umoja, unity. Okay.
Kujichagulia, self-determination.
Okay. Now, what exactly does that mean?
Self-determination, it's a broad definition.
Right.
Dr. Gringa actually had a definition for each principle. I haven't memorized them all.
Right.
Although Baba Chuck did make me memorize, each one of us had to memorize a principle and the meaning and a definition. So I memorized Kumba, so Kumba's the only one I know, but by heart. But self-determination is just determination of self. I'm determined to do something that I should be doing. Not I'm determined to do what I want. I'm determined to do something I should be doing.
That's beneficial for the community, us.
Whatever it is, whether it's community, family, yourself, because if you take care of yourself, you're taking care of the community. It has to be you first. If you're good, then you can make other people good. If you all screwed, then you got to fix you first. So self-determination. I'm determined to find a job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm determined to make better grades. I'm determined to be a better husband. I'm determined to be a better father and mother. I'm determined to be a better brother in the community. I'm determined to be a better educator. I'm determined to be a better religious leader.
Mm-hmm.
Self-determination.
Very broad.
Very.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Ujima, which is collective work and responsibility.
Okay. Right.
Putting it together, you know,
Mm-hmm.
coming together, collective
Mm-hmm.
works, being responsible for the collective works.
Right.
Then there's Ujama, which is cooperative economics, as we sit in vegan flavor, Baba. You know, brother, your eyes, Baba,
Yep.
your eyes.
And you got the T-shirt on, so you doing it, yeah.
I gotta do it, you know.
Uh-huh.
And this was the shirt that when Baba Chuck Davis passed, he had a certain amount of things that he allowed us to go through and take for ourselves as part of the will. And so this shirt was specially made by Baba Ya'ai for Baba Chuck. It has his name on the back.
Wow.
That's why I picked it up, because it's representing this brother's company, which I'm super proud of, because I remember my man had a food truck. And so his Kuji Chagulia brought him here. You see what I'm saying? Twice. It's the second storefront. That's self-determination. So that self-determination brings back Ujama. The Ujama is on us. We gotta now support this spot.
Support him.
See what I'm saying? Because his need, his purpose is to be here. So you have Ujama, and you have Nia, purpose. You have Kuumba, creativity.
Okay.
And finally Imani, which is faith. As you notice, even in our conversation, you see how the principles weave into each other in natural life.
Right.
If we're connected, then your self-determination to create a shop through your collective works and responsibility, you'll bring about your cooperative economics, because once the shop is open, the unity of the community comes to feed it as you feed them. And then, because this is your nia, this is your purpose, then the Kuumba comes out. Because this is your purpose, you become more creative. Creative ways to feed the people that you're being brought in through this unity. And through faith is how you're able to do it in the first place.
Right.
The faith backs up the Kuji Chagalia, and then you go right back again to the top. And that's everyday life. Or you can go, well, this is a holiday, and these are the principles. Then you do core tenet and go, no, these are the principles. I adhere to the principles. On all scales. See what I'm saying?
Right. Do you think the youth today are even aware of Kwanzaa?
In a formal sense. Oh yeah, I heard of it. I mean, you know, Futurama joked about it, Kwanzaa bot. So it's part of the public lexicon. It's part of the media. You know, but I don't know how many of our brothers and sisters know. Outside of if a teacher brings it up in school. I don't know how many of their parents know. Outside of, oh, I heard about that program. I don't know if their grandparents know. Outside of, unless it was talked about in the church. See, because if the mosques and the church ain't talking about it, a large majority of us don't know. What 65-year-old elder who does not do or practice or whatever, has not experienced Kwanzaa, is going to find out about Kwanzaa unless they go out into the community and find out. You know what I'm saying? But that same sister will go to the pastor, go to church every Wednesday and Sunday. Pastor goes, listen, after Christmas, don't y'all change nothing. Family's still around. First day of Kwanzaa, Umoja, we're going to talk about it. Stop making it a threatening thing. I worked with a brother once and I said, yeah, man, we were just talking about how he's like, well, you know, I don't do Kwanzaa, I do Christmas. Proudly. Like, come on, brother. Why is there either or? So when our religious leaders, black Muslims too, unfortunately right now we don't really have a black Muslim identity anymore, but that's a whole other conversation. Black Muslims. Alhamdulillah, Kwanzaa is about to come around. Not, astaghfirullah, we don't do the, you know, man, that's shirk. Nah, brother, that's the culture. They may not do it. Other cats, black people, we do. They ain't got nothing to do with that. See what I'm saying? So you'll get a lot more people, because if the home knows, like if the elder knows, the elder passes it to the parent passes it to the child. So in terms of the youth, the trickle down comes from the elders, which means the elder leaders have to make sure that not only the kids know, but really have to make sure that the elders know. So the elders pass it as a tradition to their children. Then their children will pass it as a tradition. And it will be backed up always by the religious leader that you always see every Wednesday and Sunday, who can, throughout the year, keep reminding you, this ain't Kwanzaa. You ain't doing your principles. You know your principles, brother. Where's your emoji right now? You know what I'm saying? Where's your creature chocolate? You over here slumped out. You know what I'm saying? So the people who you call your leaders in the community, if they're adhering to the tenets 24/7, 365, then when it comes around, the kids are going, well, I always hear that. So when Kwanzaa comes around, it's like, yeah, we're going to go to that. Because, I mean, we hear it all the time. So when you're in an Afrocentric school, that's what we're talking about. You know, a school like St. Cia, some of the Shules and other places around the country, we're focusing on the core principles of Kwanzaa. So it's not foreign when Kwanzaa comes around. It's a challenge because even in our student things, we have kids that are like, what? Oh yeah, I hear about that every year. We talk about it, but they don't adhere to it.
Have any? I mean, you're very well known, especially your mother here in Durham. Has any schools ever approached you about at least explaining it in the school system? Because, like you said, this is non-threatening, and I'm glad you explained that in the video. You don't think it's non-threatening?
To the powers that be, this ain't non-threatening. This is power affirming. Power reaffirmation is very threatening. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
I mean, we can blend it. I mean, we can blend it in.
In other words, if you think that there's a certain mindset that's focused on us, well, that mindset doesn't want us to expand our mindset. Because if we're mentally strong, then how does that fit their narrative?
Right.
If we're mentally strong, how can they control you? The concept of dumbing down, like when we talk about dumbing down the music, we talk about mumble rap, and man, it's dumbing down hip hop. What we're really saying is you're taking credibility away from the art form. You're making it a mockery, focused on money, which it's not. It was never formed to be. So the same concept, you know what I'm saying? So the easiest way to control someone is if they don't have their own opinion and their own focus and their own this and their own that. So like I can't go to someone who, and I'll use Mexicans as an example, for someone who's truly from Mexico, who has family in Mexico or has a connection to their country, their language, you can't tell them, I can't go up there and tell them, man, you need to stop speaking Spanish today. It's only English because you live here. He's gonna go, okay, whatever.
Right.
You know why? Because my language is a part of my tradition, my culture, my history, my people. You can't take my language from me without taking me from me.
Right.
We don't stand on anything like that. We might stand on our own traditions in our hometowns, or well, this is how we do it here, or something like that. But in terms of going, nah, yo, Africa, Africa, baby. So you want to talk about something? Let's go back to the continent. We don't claim the continent as our base and our rock to allow people not to change us. So like when you talk about, oh, you know, we need to be all about self, do you? But no, do us. We do a we concept. Black people do a we concept. Why are we copying you? You enslaved us. Now all of a sudden we're supposed to be following your model? Chasing your model, your dream? Our biggest problem is our American dream. It's not ours. It's theirs. Place up in front and go, see, this is what you need, this is what you want, right? And we go, well, I guess so, because it's what's advertised to us. We advertise it to ourselves. Most of these cats now, drug addicts, not weed. We're talking about pills and this and that. How is that moving the community forward? Where's our collective working responsibility by calling them out? We go to the club and dance to that crap. Oh man, it's hot in the club though. That's not an excuse. And it's not saying that they can't make the music, but that can't be the predominating message to our children. Because that's what my students are listening to. They're listening to drill rap. They're listening to mumble rap. They're listening to that message. That's not the message I had in high school. So you gotta have a balance. We had NWA and Public Enemy. And NWA wasn't bragging until later, once it became profitable. When they first dropped, it was like, yo, we got problems out here. Later it became, I'm the problem. Look at the progression of their music. Progression of their business. The music business is nefarious. So, not to try to paint too big of a white-black situation, there's certain things that are truths. Kwanzaa is about calling out what white people are doing to black people. Kwanzaa is about calling out what black people aren't doing for black people. And that's something that we should be saying to each other all the time. Get your stuff together. Get your family in order. Why? Because I'm going to need your family. I'm going to need your family in many different ways. I teach children martial arts. I teach adults martial arts. So maybe I'm teaching the kid and the father and the mother. I'm teaching them to protect themselves. They in turn are paying me, which in turn helps me take care of my family financially. So we work this circle. I impart wisdom to their child that is different from what they're saying, but exactly what they're saying. So I'm doubling down on the message, which is again working for their child. See what I'm saying? The adult, the child, the teacher, the mentor is again all community, all emotion. You can make money with each other. You ain't got to rip each other off. Baba and I could decide, you know, this is a gourmet vegan spot. Best in the nation. So we're charging $21 a plate. Certain people will eat it up. Slide through it all day long, but it won't look like it was meant to look. It won't feed who it was meant to feed. But he don't do that. Baba I goes, no, this is for the people. Not one certain group, all people. But my focus is on my people.
Right.
See what I'm saying? It's not an exclusive thing, but everybody else does it.
Right.
A Jewish bakery doesn't go, oh, well, no, we're not for Jews, we're for everybody. No, a Jewish bakery goes, no, I opened this Jewish bakery for Jewish people to come in and be able to eat the certain bread that we like. There's nothing wrong with that. Mexican openers, all he doesn't say, oh no, this Mexican shop is for everybody. He goes, no, I open this up for people who don't speak English and need to shop and don't have this certain produce that we have coming from home. So I want to offer that. The Arabs do the same thing when they open up the Muslim spot. I want halal, but now you can go to the halal spot. There's nothing wrong with that. So how come a black man can open up a vegan restaurant or a restaurant in general and say, this is for my people?
Right.
This is for my people. That's why
always gets demonized somehow.
You see what I'm saying? All of a sudden. But it's all the same concept. America is built on umoja. See what I'm saying? In terms of immigrants. Their umoja is how they became powerful. The umoja of every single immigrant group that came here is why they were established. You wouldn't have had a strong Italian neighborhood or a strong Italian presence in the community. You wouldn't have had a strong Jewish community. You wouldn't have had a strong Irish community if they didn't have umoja.
Right.
They had their own drama, of course, because human beings have drama, and you kill who's next to you. But they had umoja. See, because whenever we try to call out, oh, yeah, y'all busy shooting each other. How did yeah, we all got drama within our neighborhoods. You kill who your neighbor is. But that doesn't mean that we're, unredeemable.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So, so Kwanzaa, on a pro-black tip, it's about loving self, finding validity in calling on Africa as a home, calling on Africa as an example. Even though Africa is in ridiculous turmoil, even in most of the nations in the continent are run by dictators, even though many of the nations on the continent are in dire straits. Brothers killing brothers, sisters being murdered and raped.
People being enslaved.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But the core tenet of Africa has always been greatness. So even though even Africa being under attack right now, again, recolonized, again, still call on Africa. They're not supposed to be a perfect example. They're an example of beginning. Everything comes from Africa. So how are we going to, we the people. So how are we going to be like, oh man, shout out to Chicago. What? Yeah, by way of. And just draw it all the way back. You know what I'm saying? You got to have some kind of connection to the continent because it's you. It's your overall human history, your race, quote unquote, but really all races. If we really get deep and go to the Lucy and all that. But and all this is contentious debate, blah blah blah. None of what I'm saying is meant to be divisive. It's my personal opinion on how I see the other communities looking at African Americans. When Obama was in office, the Kwanzaa was dope, the Umoja was dope. You know what I'm saying? The Nia was there. Yeah, he did some political things, but that's politics. In terms of a black man in charge, there was a different vibe from the other communities. But then there was a pushback from the other communities. So we can't live in this bubble and go, oh no, I mean it's all kumbaya and it's not about white and black anymore. No, that's not true. It may not be about the average white person. It may not be about your coworker, but it is about the power structure. Your coworker may not be down with the power structure, but it still is about the power structure. The power structure is still predominantly white. So even what I love now is even a lot of white Americans are starting to open their eyes about our quote-unquote fight, but also understanding the concepts of Kwanzaa in a certain way. This is a point of contention. We have more and more white people coming to Kwanzaa.
Oh, okay.
And you have certain people going, well, I mean, you know, it's just for black people. And I mean, you know, saying, it's like, dude, it's gonna always be for black people. It's created for us, but we can't exclude someone from hearing our message to us. Now, we can exclude them from hearing our dirty business. When we air our dirty laundry, we really criticize, we really get down to the critique of each other, that's for our ears. In terms of our inspiration of each other, in terms of our direction of our community, come on, take a listen. Because whether you're a COINTELPRO cat or you're really down with the team, I don't care if you know the plan gonna happen regardless. Self-determination. Kuji Chavali is gonna be there. So what I want you to see our emoji. I want you to see that our emoji is different from what you hear on TV. I want you to hear that these principles we have are different from what you think we think. Because all you got is TV unless you break bread with us. So when you come to Kwanzaa, you're breaking bread with us. That's cool. That's what Dr. King wanted. That's what Malcolm ultimately wanted once he took on. That's what most of our leaders wanted. Integration wasn't that great, but most of our leaders just wanted us to be able to walk among them without being attacked or vilified. So when you have these police murders of black men and women, when you have this ridiculous nonsense from a quote-unquote leader in the highest office, focusing and stoking the same fires that had us lynched and hung for centuries. Kind of hard not to talk about the power structure.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of it's a circular conversation. It's going on and on and on.
Right. One last question for you, brother. You were raised Muslim, right? And you had mentioned earlier and in the middle about faith being kind of connected to Kwanzaa. I'm glad you brought that up. Do you find black Muslims here in America being accepting to Kwanzaa, or do they take the perspective, like you said earlier, that this is like shirk or it's un-Islamic? Like, what is your observation of black Muslims in America being accepting of Kwanzaa from your observation?
My personal experience, more and more black Muslim families have come out in the years since I've been an adult. But it's not many.
Okay.
You know, religion is a touchy thing. Race is a touchy thing.
Right.
So none of this that I say can be taken as a direct critique because it's a touchy thing.
Right.
More black Muslims should come out. Black first. But a lot of people say, oh, astaghfirullah, bro. Yeah, I'm a Muslim first and then. Okay, all right. But you're a black man still. You're a black woman still.
Right.
Black children.
That's not going to change. You can change your religion every day if you want to.
You can change how you focus on your religion. You can go from heavy to hardcore to nothing to extreme to whatever.
This here,
It's gonna be the same.
not going nowhere.
So,
yeah.
You know, I think unfortunately, sometimes Kwanzaa gets wrapped up with Yoruba or with other terminologies, or other religions might think that this, and it gets all weird. But if you can separate yourself from all that and just connect to Africa and the 7 principles, and not worry about all the other, you know, like, brother says peace, hotep, but you ain't gotta get up. That's all other stuff that comes on the fringe of Kwanzaa, things that other people are embracing. They're embracing other aspects of their Africanness. So they're going into their ancient African conversations. Some of them are going into African religion. Peace, champ. Peace, champ. No. Peace, champ. Hold on.
Hey, what's up, baby? Seen you in a minute, man. How you been? Good. Sharif, how you been?
What's going on, bro?
You good to go?
All right, yes, sir.
Y'all go ahead and get it in, man.
Yep. So this is the hour of power.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. And again, this is the hour of power with our good brother Zayd. We're gonna
but we got to talk about the principles. I mean, the symbols.
Yes.
We got a second?
We'll finish out with that.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
Mm-hmm.
Good, yeah. So I got taken away with Devon Owens, man, because he's been on self-determination.
Yes.
He had a Kujichagulia.
I'm interviewing him next, brother.
See what I'm saying? So my man's Nia, which was his purpose as a fighter, taking that fight all the way to Africa to train us. His Kujichagulia, his self-determination says, I went from right here to here. I've been in the gym with him before, not directly. I've watched him training in the corner while I was rolling with somebody else. I was like, okay, this brother's training for a fight. You know, something's going on. And then later on, I bumped into him another time. Then I bumped into through Buddha, and I'm like, oh, okay, you know my man. So we know each other through 6 degrees of separation, But I'm so proud because I can see the principles of Kwanzaa in his progression as a career, as a fighter. So again, you can see it in real life. But the symbols, Nkeka is the mat that the Kanara, which is the candle holder, sits on.
Right.
All the candles represent the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, so there's 7 candles.
7 candles.
The 7 candles are called the Mushima Saba. Saba being the principles, so Mushima Saba are the 7 candles that represent the principles.
One quick question for you, Zayd, not to interrupt you. These African terms, is that a particular language? Just for the people who don't know, it's Swahili. So every word that you're saying, it sounds African. It's in the Swahili language.
Kiswahili. If I'm not mistaken, Kiswahili was an attempt to be a unifying dialect, the way French is a unifying dialect in Africa now. Kiswahili was an attempt to be a unifying dialect among all Africans. So you could have one, because there's so many dialects and languages.
Right, over 2,000.
There was a way, it was supposed to be, at least that was the theory. As far as I understand, it was supposed to be a unifying language so we could all understand. So the cup that you'll see certain people pass around, sometimes you'll see the cup being poured, you'll pour libations, so you pour out water or wine for those who have passed. And that's also, that's going into other energies, but it's still a tenet of African Ma'at. And that cup or chalice is called the Kikombe Cha Umoja, the unity cup. You have Kwanzaa being considered what's the word? First fruits harvest. So the focus is on fruit and crop. So we have corn, which is mazal. The corn represents, each kernel represents a child in the family. Yeah, each kernel. Make sure I'm right on that. The fruit is considered vabunzi. The vabunzi is, again, representing of the harvest. You also have the gifts that are given. The gifts that are given, it's not like other religions, not other religions, it's not like other traditions where you go out and shop for the gift. A lot of times you're actually promoted to create the gift. So write a poem, create a book, make a shirt. If you want to buy something, buy black, quote unquote. So give back, meaning do your cooperative economics, do your hujama, by going to another person who sells, like I got this beautiful African chain. It's sterling, not sterling, but it's stainless steel, excuse me, from the dollar store, African dollar store. What's the sister's name? Sister, thin sister.
Yeah, you just opened a shop here on Fayetteville Street.
Yeah. Oh man, her name is escaping me.
She was just here last night.
It's right on the tip of my tongue. But so I saw her one day and she had this, and I was like, man, I need a nice chain with something that represents me. I was like, you got the African pin? I was like, yo, sister, I gotta get that. So just again, working that Kwanzaa. So that's a Zawadi. You can either purchase from someone else who's as a part of their collective work and responsibility, and their ujima and by being a store owner, a shop owner, and vendor. And I got to give my umoja, my unity, come through and support that business so I can have a Zawadi. So my Zawadi are my gifts. And finally, the flag, Spanish bandera, red, black, and green. Red for the blood that was shed, black for the people that were stolen, green for the land we were stolen from. Some people add yellow, gold for the land that we had, or gold from the land that we had. But, and I think that's it, if I'm not mistaken. If I forgot anything, catch me on the 26th. I'll be a hater.
Yeah, Tell us where the Kwanzaa events will be here in Durham, because is it at Walltown this year, or?
The culminating one, so January 1st was always Baba Chuck Davis's birthday, and so we would culminate. The culmination of Kwanzaa, the 7th day of Kwanzaa, would be a huge celebration at the Omni with Baba Chuck as the focal point. Baba Chuck passed away, made his transition to the ancestors this year, so this will be our first year, our first Kwanzaa without Baba. It's a heavy meditation. For those who do Black Nativity, it's the first Black Nativity without Baba. It's a heavy meditation. And Baba was influential, highly influential in his community, and he always pushed the tenets of Kwanzaa every single day. So the first is at Walltown now. I'm hosting the 26th, the first day of Kwanzaa at Hayti Heritage Center.
Okay, so that's still
St. Sia Academy, which I work, which is where I work, Mama Noni. We're going to host Kwanzaa at WD Hill on the 28th.
28th, okay. And what time is that?
6 to 9, I think.
6 to 9. So the Hayti on the 26th, is that 6 to 9?
Hayti is 1 to 9 because they're doing like a daytime market.
Oh yeah,
so
like with the vendors.
Just kind of hang out.
So December 26th, which is Tuesday, 1 to 9 at Hayti on Fayetteville Street.
And then on the 30th, I'm at Holton.
Holton, okay.
And that's the Holton Resource Center.
Right.
And I think that's 6 to 8, if I'm not mistaken.
And then the culminating one is on
the first
at Walltown.
And I think because they have the same marketplace energy, I think doors open at 12 or 1, and it'll go all day. Normally they have events throughout the afternoon. I'm not exactly sure of the timing, especially this year, with the venue being different, a lot smaller. But we'll see.
Okay. Now you finishing out, brother. You do martial arts also. Do you want to tell the listening audience how to get a hold of you, or where to get a hold of you if you're interested in martial arts?
So
we need that.
If you have children, I'd say 7 and up, preferably. I have some that are 5, but if they're a 5-year-old, I need them to have some focus. It's kind of tough. But 7 and up through the city. I'm at WD Hill. Starting the new year, I'll be at WD Hill twice a week. I was splitting between Houghton and WD Hill, but
it's on Fayetteville Street.
So starting the new year, I'll be at WD Hill on Thursdays for my beginner class for kids, 6:15 to 7:15, and then my intermediate class is on Friday from 6:15 to 7:15. My intermediate students can come to either class. My beginners, I prefer you come to the beginner class first, and kind of move from there. My adult classes are at Hayti Heritage Center on Wednesday night and Saturday morning. Wednesday 6 to 8 and Saturday 9 to 11. And there we're focusing on the system that I teach, which is Jido Kwan Taekwondo or Korean Karate, passed to me from Grandmaster Sherman Fogg, who was passed to him from Grandmaster John Dinkins and Grandmaster S. Henry Cho coming from Korea. I focus a little bit more on self-defense and weapons. So we do swords and knife and stick and some other ideas. We play around a little bit with grappling. I have a little bit of information, so I kind of play with that. But it's a more adult system. We're talking about violence in a different way. So,
is there a fee for your classes?
Yeah, my classes are pretty cheap. So for adults, starting in the new year, all my new students, it's $20 a class at Hayti. The DPR classes that's based on them, so it's their price, whatever they charge at WD.
Okay. All right. Well, this has been a very informative interview, brother, about Kwanzaa. I've never seen anyone to break it down like you do. Your family friend. Blessings to your family and your wife. She helped me to get in where I'm at now, so I'm forever grateful to you connecting me with her, and then her believing in me and helping me get in there, where I'm at now with the substance abuse place. So blessings.
That was gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's how, again, Kwanzaa.
Right.
The core premise.
It's all connected, and there's nothing un-Islamic about any of those principles. But like we said.
Right. Opportunity to speak this out, in another venue, another media outlet, platform.
Right.
And to all my Muslims, assalamu alaikum. To all my black people, peace and love. And to all my people in general, we're going to do better because we can do better. Love you all.
Right. So this is Zayd Shakur. Support Kwanzaa coming up. Thank you a lot, brother. Peace.
Peace.
Mhm.